Vince Onyekwelu, a former British police officer, is with us and is also a security consultant. You have listened to all perspective on this particular matter. From the perspective of a security consultant, what would you ask those who are currently under this attack of xenophobia to be doing?
Thank you so much for having me. Obviously, apart from being a security consultant, I've also lived and schooled in South Africa. So obviously, I can talk from the perspective of someone who has been there, who understands the system. I believe for most of the Nigerians that live in South Africa, first things first, avoid living inside the suburbs. I know things are tough. I know it's not easy to survive in South Africa, unlike in Lagos or Abuja, where you have to compete with fellow Nigerians. Over there, you have to compete with Ghanaians, Congolese, South Africans, white South Africans, mixed race South Africans, and even fellow Nigerians. So it's not easy. However, when you stay inside the town, inside the cities, you've got a lot of protection. The police can come there to save you. But if you prefer to live in the suburbs of Pretoria West, where we're talking about Soshanguve, Marabastad, Mabopani, these are local locations where a lot of people there are not economically vibrant, and they find the issue of jealousy that a foreigner just arrived three years ago, and now he's got a car, he's got a barber shop. They want to find out that we've been here for 30, 40 years. We're not able to have a car or a barber shop. So the idea of you staying in the suburbs, or what we call in the locations, the dangers are there. Number two, the Nigerians over there has to communicate more. Back in the days, we set up a lot of unions for Nigerians. So the Yorubas, the guys from Edo, South, the Igbo guys, they all have their town unions and state unions. I think they should continue to champion such unions because it helps them to inform one another if there's a problem. Because back in the days, if somebody gets arrested, we've got a legal representative to say, find out why this person is arrested, to sort out the problem. So they should communicate and stay together and stay in town and stay away from hotspots.
Some people might say that it's cheaper to live in the suburbs, isn't it?
It is cheaper to live in the suburbs, definitely. But when you compare the value for life to the value of trying to save money, don't forget, when you arrive there, it's not like Nigeria. You have to probably share a flat. You can share a room, 2 or 3 people, but at least you're staying alive. You cannot just avoid to go and live in Soshanguve in this climate because they're going to destroy all you've worked for, and they're going to probably kill you or destroy your family.
You've listened to some of the, some of the locals there saying that they're fighting crime and criminality, and they believe that some of these foreigners bring in, all sorts of vices into their communities. Do you think that the Nigerian community or the foreigners too can also, show that they're being proactive in helping rid the society of crime, for instance?
No, definitely. Let me be very, very clear here. A very few percentage. Some foreigners do have criminal tendencies. Some foreigners, a very few percentage, do peddling drugs. Lots of them do fraud. Lots of them do prostitution. And it's very annoying. It can be very upsetting for somebody to come into your country, into your location, into your city, and try to mess it up. It's very annoying. But when you look at the percentage, when you look at the bigger percentage of Nigerians, for example, who are medical doctors, who are teachers, who are engineers, who are nurses, you cannot compare the both sides. So the bottom line is that somebody is doing crime. It does not give you a right as a South African citizen, because the person you're killing could also be a South African citizen like you, though he was not born in South Africa, but you're both citizens. You share the same legal rights. So you don't have a right to go and take another man's life because you believe he's doing crime. Take the case to the police. The police can investigate, arrest, and prosecute, but not for you to slit somebody's throat. No, that's madness.
We've heard about, the police not coming to their aid as fast as, they want, as fast as they are asking them to. Is it something you also experienced while in South Africa? I
must give respect to the South African Police Services, SAPS. They're very highly trained, good professionals, great professionals, well equipped. So definitely when you come at the ratio of countries that have the highest or the quickest response to crime, South Africa, when it comes to Africa, is top up there. You can make sure in South Africa, if you call the police, that within a period of 5-10 minutes, you can get a good police response. They still have, I think it's still 111. That is their response number. unlike in Nigeria, don't have a response number across Nigeria. So they are still well trained and well equipped. Yes, we saw images and videos of police officers laughing when shops are being looted. That is quite unprofessional. But for someone to say that the SAPs in general are not doing a good job, I would say no. Why do I say that? Number one, look at the level of violence that was unleashed. How many people were killed with live bullets compared to what happens in Nigeria when there's a kind of peaceful protest and people are shot dead with live ammunition? That did not happen in this. Look at the level of how they were able to manage it. And you see, the police brutality was actually very reduced. And there was only the presence of the SAPs, the South African Police Services. You didn't say the Navy or the Air Force or the Army getting involved. So I think for those police officers that were very lackadaisical in their job, that were laughing, I think they have to be queried. But for one to say that the South African Police Service are not good enough, no, I think they're great professionals. Why do I say that? I worked in the private security sector in South Africa while I was schooling in South Africa. So obviously I had to have a career to be keeping myself alive. And they trained us, and they were great professionals. I know how they even go. It was from them I learned how to be patient even before I joined the service in the UK, about wait for the criminal, be patient. No, they are professionals. I'll give it to them.
Okay, now, so you were talking about measures. One of the measures is, avoid the suburbs. What other measures would you give to Nigerians or foreigners living in South Africa at this time?
I think the issue of trying to communicate with one another is very important. And if they have criminal elements in their midst that they are sure these guys run prostitution cartels, honestly, you have to find a way to disassociate yourselves from those guys, because maybe they have cash, maybe they come to the town union meetings, they probably host the meetings, buy people drinks, and they have all the big titles, big names. But the bottom line, the more they are coming close to you, is the more they make you look bad, that you are all criminals.
Well, Vince, I have to say thank you very much for coming on Sunrise Daily. Vince Onyekwilu is a former British police officer and a security consultant who's lived and schooled in South Africa.